But I do think that we live in a world where we're preconditioned. And when we try to break away from those preconditions, and the precondition is you have to have this type of house, you have to have this many cars, you have to have this type of job so that you can have all this, and you try to break away from that and go homesteading, and we find that we start to drag that mentality with us, it really is counterproductive. All right, so we have on occasion, but we seldom do 2 videos a day. And the reason that I'm uploading the second video, by the time I get it uploaded, it'll probably be tonight. If not, then during the day today, is because we felt like we were being dishonest with you guys this morning when we uploaded the Oldsteader video. And the reason that we felt dishonest is after we read the comments. And that is because we had done a video prior to the one we uploaded this morning. And we felt that we were hitting too many hot topics, too many sacred cows in the modern homesteading community and on YouTube. And really, honestly, what we said was not trying to step on anyone's toes, but we were afraid that, 1, it would, and 2, that it would come across as sounding condemning, because we feel homesteading, like so many things, have totally gotten off topic, off track. And so we just shuttered that one, put it aside, and redid it real quick after we did the first one. And what we redid was what we uploaded this morning. So after we were reading the comments and had been contacted by folks, we felt that we should have gone with our gut instinct and uploaded the first one. Sometimes you can have an opinion and it doesn't always need to be spoken. And we kind of felt like maybe that's what we were doing in the first video. But then after second thought, we thought, well, no, you know what? I think we were on target. And I think that it goes back to some things we just need to be said. And so we wanted to upload it in its entirety. We can call this Oldsteader 2.0 version compared to this morning. So, all right, guys, in advance, if we offend anybody, we beg pardon, but we are just speaking how we see things to be. And we hope we encourage you folks out there. And again, use the comment section for interaction, for suggestions, for thoughts. It's a great way to build community there, and I really feel like here at Family Heritage Living we have a great community that's being built, and people are being encouraged not just by our videos but by each other. So, all right, we will talk soon. God bless. Hi guys, it's us, the Oldsteaders, on the old homestead.
The Oldsteaders have returned.
We were able to come together. Usually we're headed in separate directions and passing. We did a video about 3 weeks ago on Oldsteaders, and we had a really great response, enough to make us realize that there really is a need to talk about this. We've spent the past 3 weeks talking about, well, what do we want to do?
Right,
A follow-up video, what do we want to do? Because we haven't been quite sure where to go with this.
And we're still not really sure where we want to go with this. But it feels like we need to do something.
Yeah, there's a void in the homesteading community, and I think there's, the fellowship thing is important. And when I say fellowship, it's knowing you're not alone. It's being able to communicate, hey, you know what, I feel this way, or I struggle with this, or right. I'm uncertain about this. Do you have it? Is anyone else out there connect with that? Can you give me some encouragement? And that's part of the things, like with the videos on YouTube, where the comment section comes in, getting to know your fellow YouTubers that are viewing that particular video. But I think just based on the individual comments, we kind of got the general idea that, you know what? There's a bunch of us Oldsteaders out there.
There are.
And we have some special needs to kind of conquer.
We all need encouragement, and I don't know about direction, but I guess we could all use some direction, couldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Some I don't know,
You ain't
guidance.
getting that from us. That's where the comments from other people come.
Right, yeah, that's
I think a lot of the comments were, there were some comments that people shared what they do, kind of what they've run into as they've gotten older or just starting, and what they're confronting, or what they've done to tackle it. And other people were, hey, you know what? We're just starting this venture, and we've been a little concerned because of our age.
Sure. And something that Grandpa told us, going on 20 years now. If it's something you want to do that's beneficial, to your family, or I guess to yourself if you're alone, do it.
Right.
If it's beneficial, don't regret, because if we don't, we'll regret it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying to sell all your goods and move out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But if that dream,
What'd you call her?
What did I call her? Goatzilla or something. Man, she's being loud out there tonight. Where was I?
I don't know. She's like 5 minutes past feeding time or something, and she's slipping out here.
Yeah.
I think.
There'll be regrets. If you want to, get into the Oldsteader, and if you don't, you'll live with regret. And homesteading, oldsteading, starts, in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It doesn't have to be, again, living out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Eating tree bark and
Though we haven't eaten tree bark. We've drank tea bark tree. Mm-hmm. But and there was a handful of people that said, hey, you know what, don't have the opportunity at this time. I am older. I don't have the opportunity at this time to find that place away, right, to do the homesteading that I dream of. But you've heard us talk before, if you've watched our older videos, about Countryside magazine, Countryside Small Stock Journal. It's still in publication today. However, it is a totally different editor and owner. Not the same magazine from early 2000s, 1990s, 1980s, 1970s, 1960s, which you can get all of those, or often you'll find those years on eBay. And I'm telling you this for a reason, because there is so much information
and encouragement
right there. Encouragement and about starting where you are, about you're never too old. In fact, the editor of that particular, when the magazine started, J.D. Bellinger, who's written several books, he wrote an article about where they were most productive. They lived in a small town, yep, on, was it a half acre?
Very small, yeah. That's very small acreage.
At the time he was writing this article, he lived on over 200 acres, and I can't remember where, Wisconsin, Idaho, somewhere Midwest. But he said that he's never been as productive as he was on that one small little piece of land.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Especially when you're starting older, you don't have to have a lot of land to be productive.
Well, the more land you have, the more, I guess, responsibility,
You do. More taxes. More taxes you have. Yes. Oh.
And, and some of that depends on, what you want to do.
Right.
And how you want to do it.
And, his point was the state of mind that no matter where you're at, no matter where you're at, you can be productive. And then as you are able to maybe to get more space. But in that magazine, there was there was all types of homesteaders, from garden terraces on the apartment balcony to postage stamp yards where they could raise rabbits, and they gardened in containers, whatever they had to do.
Yep. It's all a lot of it was the state of mind.
So you don't even necessarily have to pick up where you're at if you're at retirement age to homestead. Mm-hmm. But you do need to follow that dream if that's your dream, homesteading of any form.
Yeah. Start Oldsteading.
If there's anything you can think of particularly that would encourage you, would help you, would enable you, give us some ideas of what we can do or what we can, figure out to do for videos that might help to get you beyond a concern or conquer, an obstacle that you're having mentally. I'm not sure how to do this or how to do that. How will you handle firewood if you're going to heat with wood? How are you going to handle animals if you're going to have animals? And so much of this is really basic, but people get caught up kind of, I guess, in the idea, you got to homestead, you got to have milk goats, and you got to have chickens, and that might be true for someone's dream. But if it's just you and your spouse at a later stage in life, you don't need 15 milk goats, and you don't need 50 chickens. Right. Many things can be a manageable size. Homesteading.
And one thing that might be discouraging. It can be encouraging, and it can be discouraging also. Is seeing other people's beautiful homesteads, and we go, oh. But they take a lot of work.
They do.
But don't get discouraged with other people's mega homesteads. That's not what it's about.
You are not going to hear from us an encouragement for modern day homesteading. That's not to say, if that's your thing, that's fine. But homesteading is supposed to be something that's more self-reliant. And when people get themselves in a situation where they feel they need high dollar tractors and they need four-wheelers and they need their little go-kart to go around their property and stuff, you really haven't created a self-reliant situation for yourself. You've just created a different form of dependency and a different form of bondage. And that's and again, if that's your thing, that's fine, but I think it's contradictory to what the true spirit of homesteading is.
Well, yeah, if you've got large acreage and stuff, and you need a tractor or whatever, if you need that piece of equipment.
If you need it. But how many times have we seen homesteaders or people in general buy these things because, hey, Billy Bob down the road has it, or look they've got that on YouTube, so that means that I've got to go out and get a four-wheeler for everybody in my family.
Well, that's where the discouraging thing
is, and then those things break down, or you gotta repair them. Insurance. Yeah, it's just one more form of bondage that homesteading's supposed to free you from.
Yeah, it is.
And if we sound condemning, sorry, but I do think that it's we live in a world where we're preconditioned. And when we try to break away from those preconditions, and the precondition is you have to have this type of house, you have to have this many cars, you have to have this type of job so that you can have all this, and you try to break away from that and go homesteading, and we find that we start to drag that mentality with us, it really is counterproductive.
Well, you look in just society as a whole. You were mentioning live in this kind of house in this neighborhood, drive these automobiles, and it's all status
quo.
Yeah. It's all keeping up with the neighbors and stuff, and again, kind of the discouraging thing about YouTube, or just the internet, is you look at all the homestead, not all, I should say, a lot of the homesteads, and a lot of them do have all the latest and greatest gadgets and doodads, and they've fallen into the same mentality as, you know, the people that live in town and stuff,
Right.
or whatever, you know. That's
And, you know, I guess, again, that's fine if that's your thing, but that's really not, I guess that's not the J.D. Bellinger homesteading that, you know, we connect with.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, leaving the sidewalks behind to at whatever cost, whatever price, so that you can be as debt free as possible, so that you can, you know, grow as much of your own stuff, so that if the bottom fell out, you weren't dependent
right.
on someone else. That's just, I don't know. I just have a disdain for it. And I think it's because it's pushing more materialism in a situation where there's not supposed to be that.
Yep. So it's get simpler.
It
Gets more complicated.
Yeah.
It does. And we get using all the big equipment, and then if it breaks down or whatever, now what do we do?
right.
You mean,
You know?
You mean I've got to walk back there and I've got to walk way back there and sled up a load of firewood? No way.
You know, and again, you know, we've talked before that physically sometimes you have to do that, but that's a different situation.
Yeah.
If you physically aren't able to do something, that is a totally different thing than just doing it because your neighbor has it, or you see, you know, whoever having it, and you have to duplicate that scenario. It's still a materialistic attitude, and I think I'm just one that believes that homesteading is supposed to be part of stripping away that materialism. And if we hang on to it by moving it forward to the homestead, then we can change the name. We can call it modern day homesteading, but it's like saying agri-farming is farming, but it's not. It's not. Oh boy,
There you go. You've opened that can of worms.
we should be getting some hate mail on this one. What was it? What was the one video we watched a while back where they said, talking about people lighting with kerosene lamps, and can you imagine what'd they say?
Barbarian?
Yeah, it was how barbaric. And this, you know, these were homesteaders themselves. And it was like, I just kind of was like, really, you know, simplicity. You barbarian. Barbarian. Well, yeah, we're not bashing modern day homesteading, but we're saying, you know, this is your time to dream. And if you envision the dream, but you can only envision it with only when you can afford these things, you're going to miss the opportunity for that dream. And if it's like saying, well, you know, I don't know, I can't have kids until my house is paid for. I can't have kids until my house is paid for. You know how many women I know that have missed out on having children, and they regret it now in their 50s, and it's like, it's too late. The opportunity has passed. And if you're just getting ready to homestead in your 50s or 60s, and you're still holding off because you just can't afford to do it like you're seeing it done on YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't
wait. Don't set yourself up to don't set yourself up for that.
You don't want to miss your dream because somebody went in debt for a four-wheeler or a tractor or a boat or.
Yeah.
Most of the things that we do on the homestead can, you know, I could use equipment if it's available, but even in our age, I think it's good to try to do as much by hand to keep yourself active. You know, we've talked about that before, but enough people don't think about that. I mean, I've seen people who heat with wood, or who, help me here, who farm, you know, hundreds of acres, but they can't barely walk, 20 feet because they're not doing the physical work. They're letting machines do it for them.
Right. And again, we know there's circumstances.
Yes. So, there's the other thing is handicapped people that want a homestead. Is there a need for fellowship Is there enough people that are handicapped that want a homestead that would if they had some encouragement? We think older because most people, slow down when they're older, but there are those that are younger that would they like the lifestyle if they had the opportunity, if they had ways to think around certain obstacles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we don't have to live, in the country or, in the forest or whatever to homestead. You can homestead right in town.
Mm-hmm.
You can. With the, like you said earlier, with the container gardening, excuse me, or we're not big recyclers, but recycling and just things like that. Back to that's a lot of our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the right mindset. Would encourage you to search for older
Homesteading books.
Yeah, older homesteading books, information.
Stuff written in the 60s and the 70s are really
We're
would be
older than that,
applicable.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
It's a lot different information than
it
today's
is
stuff.
because today's mentality is geared towards the big tools and the big cost with them. Because there's such a marketing. 50 years ago, there wasn't that big of a marketing tool. People weren't going to make a lot of money off homesteaders. Homesteaders were breaking away to get away from those things.
Right.
And now, since we're drawing products into homesteading, back to the big tools and stuff, where the gadgets in the kitchen and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the point is it's smart. It's all about marketing in the end. And since books, people are going to do this, are looking towards books and magazines, etc., to learn these skills. And if they're modern day magazines and modern day books, they're geared to push the person towards a marketing mentality, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, yeah, it's years ago when RJ was in Cub Scouts. That's we're talking almost 20 years ago. A lot of the old timers at that time were kind of fed up with what was going on in Scouts at that time, and not what's going on these days, but they were tired of the Scout stores at camps and stuff. If a Scout needed something, all the Scout had to do was go up to the Scout store and buy it. Mm-hmm. And the old timers, going back, another 10 or 20 years, they made everything at camp. They made what they needed, or they improvised. Mm-hmm. I kind of liken that to today. If we need something, we just run to the store and buy it, rather than improvising or making it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, bad, or otherwise.
Just not locking yourself in that box to condition yourself that you can't fulfill your dream based on not having certain things, I guess.
Yep. Yep. Do our best work.
And time will take care of itself.
Time will take care of itself.
All right, well, I guess if we post this, we'll find out how many modern day homestead channels actually view our videos. Oh, boy.
Is that about it?
That's it. All right.
Okay, everybody.
God bless.
God bless.